You might be wondering why I'm holding IRO. You might also be wondering if CBD is man's best friend's best friend. Today we're going to talk about it. Today we're going to talk about CBD and pets. Remember to talk to your veterinarian before starting any type of product like this with your own pet. The first question I kind of have about this is, are the endocannabinoid systems of animals different than humans?
So I have so many thoughts on this. So typically speaking, most mammals have similar neurotransmission pathways and normal neurotransmission absorption sites. And so for dogs, they have dopamine receptors, just like humans do. And CBD inhibits a lot of the same pathways that it would inhibit in humans. And so generally speaking, CBD is extremely safe for mammals. There is no data for lizards, reptiles. There is no data on birds. And there are a couple differences with some mammals. So like in the case of cats, THC is not a good molecule to give to cats, whereas CBD seems to be okay.
Do you have any experience with dogs and CBD? Because, man, it is a big marketplace.
It is. I only have experience with my own dog. I haven't had a lot of patients bring their dogs in here to get them dosed, but I do give my dog a little bit of CBD every once in a while, especially around the 4th of July. Big days like that where there's a lot going on and there's a lot of loud noises. It really helps her kind of calm down and she feels better and she's not hiding under the bed quite as much. But she's a very big dog. She's 80 pounds.
So how much do you give an 80-pound dog?
Anywhere between, I can give 10 milligrams or 20 milligrams of CBD is usually what you'll get in the treats that you can find over the counter. So that's generally what I'll give her, is something in between there. And each package should actually have dosing on the back because they're going to know better what the concentration is in each treat. So follow the directions on the back.
Right, because we know that like they have the same receptor sites and the metabolism is, the metabolism of drugs can be very, very different in dogs than in humans.
A perfect example of this is dogs typically create their own vitamin C in their liver, whereas humans eat citrus and so forth to get their vitamin C. And so this is why dogs typically don't eat, and it's not actually healthy for dogs to eat citrus-related foods.
What if the dog gets a hold of my edibles? And my THC, what happens with dogs and THC?
So your dog is going to get high. I mean, that's what's going to happen. Your dog will get high and then lethargic. The thing that's more dangerous is if your edible that your dog eats is a brownie or something along those lines, then the chocolate can have really negative effects for the dog. The THC itself shouldn't have a toxic event for the dog or your horse or your cow. For your cat, it could have a really adverse effect, so you'd want to consult your veterinarian pretty quickly. The one thing about buying treats just out in the universe, the CBD world is the Wild West still. They're not all created equal. People put different types of ingredients in them. I would say if that's the way it is for humans, it's 3 times as bad or more for animals. Be really, really careful about just going and buying some product for your pet, especially, in fact, what we have found is most people are willing to spend more money on their pets than they are for themselves. And so just be really conscious about it.
What types of products or what types of conditions do people usually give their pets CBD for? We talked a little bit about anxiety.
Anxiety, arthritis pain, generalized pain.
So remember that CBD in humans is really used a lot for anxiety and arthritic pain, just like what Kylie was talking about when you're using it in dogs. It seems like 10, 20 milligrams for bigger dogs. And maybe, of course, as the dog gets lighter, smaller doses.
You still think about things in terms of mg per kg, right? And so if your dog is 80 pounds, 10 to 20 milligrams of CBD is probably the right dose, which is less than for most humans. The effective range for most humans, typical humans, is around 25 mg. If for a small dog that's 20 pounds, man, getting above 2 to 5 mg, it starts to become they'll become lethargic. The biggest indication for animals who have taken too much CBD is lethargy. Same with humans, quite frankly. And so that part is the same. And then we've noticed that across all mammals so far. If you've given it too much, it'll be lethargic.
Remember to talk to your veterinarian about any new products that you want to give to your animal, especially your dog, especially when it comes to health conditions, because we want to make sure that we're treating the underlying health condition as well as doing symptom control too. And remember to go to a well-sourced CBD product. Like Blake was saying, it's already so hard to find good CBD products in the human market. It's going to be even harder to find good products for pets and animals.
I'm a big fan of companies that are actually engaged in clinical trials. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of companies. That doesn't mean they have to have them all completed, but they've begun that process. I'm also a big fan of those that are specifically creating medicines for pets, meaning we have an immune system boost one. We have hip and joint pain. We have one for anxiety. We have one for end of life or hospice type care. That indicates that they're taking it as serious medicine for their animal and not just, hey, CBD is gimmicky. Let's throw some in a dog treat and see how it goes. Right. So that's my opinion.
Remember to consult your veterinarian before giving any CBD products or any cannabinoid products to your pet. And like Iro, watch where you're getting these products from. Make sure that you're getting them from a reputable dealer. Also, comment below and join the conversation about what you're using for your pet, what's working and what isn't. We'd like to hear from you.